Paramount High School. My project at Bluestamp this summer was the gesture-controlled robot, and why I chose this robot was because I wanted to learn how to connect Bluetooth modules together and how they work with the wiring and the mechanics, and also how they would relay information into the motor controllers and also the DC motors to act precisely and control specific aspects of the motors, such as the speed and the direction. So a basic overview of this robot is that there are two HC05 Bluetooth modules. One, which is on the breadboard, is the master controller, and this one is the slave. So the accelerometer, which is this blue square or blue rectangle, it takes inputs from the gyroscope, which measures the degree of tilt, so left, right, this way, forward, up, and it relays information through an Arduino Uno, which I inputted code into, and then that is sent to the Bluetooth module to be sent into the other Bluetooth module, which is then sent into the Arduino Nano or Arduino Uno, and that's processed through code and then sent to the motor controllers, which send a very basic control and output to the motors, such as how fast they move and which direction they move. So to power this, I would plug in the battery. Other battery to control this, and then as you can see, if I tilt this forward, it'll go forward, and then if I tilt it back, it'll go back. And then some other things I did was, if I click these two buttons, it'll utilize one of the functions of the mechanism wheels, which is move perpendicular to the direction of the motors, so it will move directly left, directly right. And then another feature I had, which you just saw, was moving diagonally. So it can move diagonally in all four directions. And then another thing I had was moving, that's another diagonal. And then also, based on how much I tilted the accelerometer, it would move faster, so it was slower and then faster. And then that's basically the overview of the robot and its controls. One of the biggest challenges I had with this robot was pairing the Bluetooth modules, which control the information using Bluetooth. So a previous student that had this same project got it working, but I had to troubleshoot with the issue and where it was, specifically if it was a software issue, or the wiring was wired incorrectly, or if it was an issue with my device, because I was using a Mac, and it turned out to be an issue with the power after we sent the AT commands through the serial monitor, which is how you tell which Bluetooth module is which. So this one's the slave, and this one's the slave, and this one's the master. And if I had more time, I would implement a camera detection, which would create actions based on a more sophisticated level of camera view, such as if it detected something, a specific color or a specific shape or state of a face, such as if something was smiling or sad, and it would make an action. Or I would make cameras and use a more basic way of thinking to make it so it wouldn't run into something like some of the other students did. And I think most importantly, the best thing I learned at Bluestamp was how to troubleshoot. So for example, I learned how to isolate an issue to tell if it was either an issue with the code, the hardware, the powering, or the wiring. For example, a lot of my issues were solved by checking the wiring, for example, into the motor controllers, or if the battery had enough power, because a lot of the times signals are being sent but the motors are not moving. So that was something I learned. And then another thing I learned was the basics of how to use a breadboard and Arduino, and how the code translates to actual actions, whether it was the Bluetooth module or the accelerometer or finally the Arduinos. Thank you.